You know, it seems like Tuesdays just roll around so fast, and I'm always happy that we're here together and doing a few DIY things. So tonight we are going to do some Christmas gifts that are quick and easy things that you can do yourself. They're not necessarily all quick, but they are easy. So I kind of got started with a few of them here, and I was having a little trouble because I was using amazing casting resin, which I've used many times, and you can review some of our Tuesday talks where we've done molds. But tonight I was mixing some up ahead of time, and I couldn't get the lid off the one jar. I think I shook it too much. I have some that I don't think is turning out right, but I have all kinds of molds here that are setting up. But we're going to be doing journals. We're going to be doing a couple types of gift boxes. We're going to be doing some decoupage, also some coasters. So we have all kinds of fun things planned tonight. I'm going to go ahead and put my broadcast on so that I can see your comments, hopefully, on a different device. So I hope your week is going well. Can't believe it's Thanksgiving week also. So I am putting some of these molds in. These are curing. I see that I didn't quite get them full, but I'm lucky that we got that much. I have one that's setting up that you can see. I think I can turn this sideways. This one is a total disaster. I don't know what is going to happen with that. I don't know whether it had water in it or what the story is. But we have some molds that we already have done. So we'll see what happens. I'm not worried about it. You know, it's just crafting. So let's get started with some decoupage. So I like to make these journals. They come from the Dollar Tree, just like that. You've seen them probably before, the Jot Journal. And they're $1, obviously. Although the Dollar Tree is raising their prices on some things that are not going to be $1 anymore. So it's going to be the $1 plus. So I don't know when that's going to happen. But anyway, it's just a lined journal, and they're really nice. And I've used them several times. So if you've seen some of my Tuesday talks, we've done them before. But I'm, trying to give you some gift ideas tonight. So if you haven't seen this one for a while, then we'll go ahead and work on this. So like I said, that's what they look like when they are new. And I'm going to show you one that I already got started. And pull up my live here. So I put a coat of paint on one already. I'm going to turn this down. Okay, so I used a gray paint, and it's going to need a second coat, but we're going to put some of our molds on there. But we're going to worry about the inside first. Now, when I painted it, I cut in all along there. So with the original one, this is the color it was black inside there. So whatever coat of paint that you use on the outside, you want to cut in along there. It's just a nice finishing touch. Now I'm trying to use up some odds and ends of things that I've had laying around. And this decoupage paper, this is from Redesign with Prima. And this is called Washed Damask. I don't know if they still have this one or not. I used to sell Redesign with Prima, and I used to sell IOD, but I just, when Dixie Belle started selling these kinds of products, I just kind of decided that I was just going to stay with Dixie Belle and use all theirs. So I'm reaching over here for a pair of scissors. Okay, so I'm going to put the screen down so you can see what I'm doing. See my mess I have going on. So when I was doing this, one of the pages stuck and there was a ripped page, but I'm going to use that as a template because we're going to make two different liners for the inside of this. Okay, so again, I'm just using this as a template. And I should just mark it with a pen. Would be easier. I should probably also have a straight edge on there. Yeah, because that didn't show up. I'll use the book. I love this paper. I think it's really pretty. I have a couple that I'm going to be doing, and we're also going to be doing some gift boxes that you get. You get them at the craft store, and we're going to make some really fun gift boxes out of them. We'll go ahead and get that cut, and then I'll cut the tops off. So if you come on, say hi, and let me know if you are doing any crafting this evening, or if you're busy getting ready for Thanksgiving. So we have a big turkey this year and not a big crowd. My son had COVID. He's done quarantining and he's feeling better, but his kids still have to quarantine. So we're not going to get to see the whole family that day. So it'll be an odd one. So just have my two sons, and my stepkids are not able to come. They're kind of spread out across the country now. So it's like I said, small crowd, big turkey. But you know, leftovers are always great. I'll send some home with my son for the rest of the family. So having trouble lining this up. It's slipping on each other. Wow, I'm really struggling with that. Tell you what, I'm just going to lay this down on here and just cut it. And if it's a little crooked, we can adjust that. And here I am with my lousy scissors again. So I'm excited because on Black Friday, our cozy challenge goes up. So with some other YouTubers, and I'm looking forward to that. Okay, yeah, that's really crooked, so I have to adjust that. If I can crease this. See, I should have had this cut ahead of time, but, you know, I don't want to spare you all the fun here. I was getting everything ready. Then at the last few minutes, everything started to kind of go a little wonky, so I've been actually getting ready since about 6:30 for my live. These things happen. I sell these journals a lot in the store. So they're especially popular at Christmas time. They just make a nice gift. I usually sell them for $10. And it's just a high-end, you know, once we do all this extra stuff, it makes it a real high-end gift. So I'm only going to be able to do one side at a time anyway, so I'll go ahead and do this side because we'll have to let it dry before we can do the other side. So what I'm going to use is Dixie Belle's Clear Coat in flat, and this is our decoupage medium. Just have a couple brushes here and only need one. But just using this and coating this. Now the redesign with Prima paper is a little bit different than some other paper I'm going to be using. It's almost like a fabric, so it's kind of different. Very cool stuff. Okay, so I have a good coat on there, and I think I have the right side. Yeah, so I'm just going to line it up. When it's dry, I can always come back in if I want to use a blade or something to trim it a little. I can do that. Okay, so I have it down there pretty good, but I want to make sure that these edges are down. So once you have it in there, with a hair in there, we don't want to gift that to someone. Once you have it down, then you can start coating the top then. Okay. And you can use anything for the insides of these. I've used calendar pages, wrapping paper, you name it. If you can decoupage it, you can use it. Just tucking that in there a little bit. I'm just going to use my fingers to make sure this is secure, which that piece is up a little bit. Okay, so we're going to let that dry, and we will come back to that. I'm going to put that on not too tightly so I don't have trouble getting it undone. Throw this in a plastic bag. All right, I'm going to put the camera up again. And let's look at some of these molds. So generally the biggest ones are the ones that are able to be unmolded first. Like I said, this was a weird experience with these, so I don't know how good they're going to do, but they seem to be coming out okay. Maybe this needs to be down a little bit. When they first come out, they're flexible. Now I missed some of this mold, and that's okay. Angels aren't perfect, right? But look at the detail in there. I love using the two-part epoxy, even though I had a weird mix tonight, but that's cool. I have a whole bunch of them that I've already done. They have, this is an older mold, but they have some new molds that I'm excited about. And the one I have is the Cameo Mold. I just love it. So see how flexible that is in the beginning? But after it dries really hard, you can't bend it. At this stage, so if you wanted to wrap it around a jar or something and put some tape on it to give it some bend so it stayed that way, you could do that as it hardens. But I generally use mine flat. I've also heard people say that you can put it in the microwave. I'm not that brave. I do a lot of crazy stuff, but I don't like to do stuff like that. Okay, this, like I said, was a really weird mix. It's really thin. So I'm not sure how this one's going here. I also see I missed some. But I think we're going to be okay. This is a huge mold. I've used this on furniture pieces before. And since I've done this, I'll probably save this for a furniture piece because it's too big for any of our items that we're doing tonight. Yeah, this is kind of a weird mold because I missed some and I don't know what the scoop was. I couldn't get the jar open on part 2. So, but you know, when you put this on furniture, you can just glue it and fill it. It's fine. So, yeah, it's a little sticky on her face. Again, that should dry. We should be okay with that. So that's a cool mold. So we're going to set that one aside, and then I'll show you what else I have here. So let's get this weird one out here. I'm anxious to, that's still, ew, it's weird and sticky. So yeah, that didn't work. And this has bubbles on it. So I've never had this happen. But anyway, fortunately, this is the good side. So that came out nice. Then this one, now there's a little extra stuff, which is okay. You can either tear it or use the scissors and get that. But this one came out nicely. I was hoping to use that one on one of these journals. So whenever you're pouring and you have a little extra resin, you want to just use it up. So these are little birds. I think they're so cute. I have a couple other things here. We're also going to do some jewelry tonight. And these are really cute. I just think these are so sweet. I think these would make really cute pierced earrings. So we have some other things here. So we're going to be playing around a little bit. So like I said, just trim it when you have extra. Okay. So let me get this other bird out. I also did a clock. So I'm just kind of pulling along those lines and then trimming it up. There, that came out pretty decent. Okay. Gonna try the clock here. Okay, that came out pretty good. You could use the X-Acto knife and trim this part out here if you wanted that to be open, which I probably would. And then it's so weird, these are bubbly, but I have a couple of these done already, which I've already painted, and we're going to paint a little bit more with them. And then there's this one too, which I didn't quite get the whole mold filled. So these plain ones I think would be really cool if you wanted to like do a transfer on them and then paint a frame like gold or something. So these are wasted, but I'm going to wait until they're really dry. They may never dry and get them out of there. I don't think I've ruined my mold or anything. Okay, and then there was also this frame. Now this is Sicily, I think. This is redesigned with Prima. So I didn't have enough to fill that one, but I do have enough for this one. So I'm taking that one out. I was also hoping to use this in my design tonight. So I'm just gonna take this extra off, tear it off. And it's a little misshapen, but we can always reshape it. But these are so pretty. There's roses in there. Like I said, it's really weird shaped right now, but I'm also going to use the scissors here and trim this up. There, that'll make it nice. So we are gearing up for Black Friday at our store, Shop Small Saturday, and then we're even going to be open on Sunday as well. Okay, so I've got the ones that I want to use. So this one, like I said, it didn't fill completely, but I can still use that part of the mold. There's, like if you're looking at like architectural salvage, that's what I like to compare it to, and that's not perfect because it's gotten ruined. So these little bits and pieces are always fun. I never get rid of them. So, I mean, this one I might cut down a little bit while it's still a little malleable, then I can cut it easily. And you have a piece like that. So these are just odds and ends that you can do stuff with. You can also use a nail file on these to trim them down a little bit. So, and it's easy to clean up these molds afterwards. Just pick the stuff off of them. Okay, my work surface is a mess here, but okay, let's get our molds out of the way. All right, let's go in a different direction for a minute, and we're going to come back to our molds in our journal. But I just wanted to show you those. But I think what we're going to do is put these two on the front of the journal and paint it out. So, okay, let's get some of these molds out of the way. Might keep those two handy. These also, I think these will fit on a journal. No, not quite. I often thought that would make a cool statement necklace. Put a little something hanging down here, and I don't know, are statement necklaces a thing still? I think they are. Okay, I'm going to put this up a minute. Okay, I'm going to show you some other things. Let's talk about some boxes that we're going to do. So these are just these cardboard boxes that you get, Art Minds paper mache box. Okay, so you can get them at the craft store. So I got these at Michael's. I painted the lid in caviar and I gave it 2 coats. And I also brought home some really cool pulls, drawer pulls. So I just kind of poked a hole in the top of the box with at the tip of a knife. You could you could drill through it if you wanted, but that's just what I had handy, and that's what I did. And you could measure the middle, but again, I guessed on that. So I'm just going to insert this little wicker handle in there and put the nut on it. Now I have what are they called? Channel locks, and they cut the ends of these off nicely. If you don't have channel locks, they might be a cool thing to get. The first time I ever saw channel locks, I was at Planet Fitness, and someone locked their keys in their locker. This little girl comes out with the channel locks, and she just cuts that padlock right off the locker like nothing. I thought, that comes in handy. So I use it because sometimes I make chandeliers and stuff, so I can cut the chain with it. But lots of times if I have bolts or something that are too long, just able to cut the ends off real easily. Okay, so this is the top of our box, and I have this wrapping paper, and it's just Christmas wrapping paper. You know, everything's buffalo plaid right now. So I'm just going to use this to decoupage on the box. So I'm going to put the screen down, and I'm not going to use the medium, the flat clear coat that I used before. I'm actually going to use tacky glue, okay? Just because the paper is different, it's not as porous, so I'm just going to use the tacky glue, and I'll probably use a brush here to get it real even so you don't see lumps of glue. Put screen back up a little so you can see. Whoa. And lots of times I end up using my hands, but I will seal it though. I will use the flat clear coat to seal it. So I'm just putting this around all over. Okay, and I'm going to use a brush. I'm going to try to find one of my, I'm going to try to find a brush here that's seen better days. And just kind of brush this around. I might need to put a little bit more on. Like I said, don't be shy. If you come on, say hi. Because, you know, Tuesday Talk's all about the talk, too. And it's kind of one-sided if I do all the talking, you know. Okay, so that's really tacky, as tacky glue should be. So I'm going to put, there's the cut side and the factory side. I'm putting the factory side down at the bottom. And then I'm going to put the cut side up at the top because I can trim that. I could trim either side, but I'm just going to choose to do it this way. That way I can line it up with the table and make sure I'm getting it right. Now, I want to be a little more careful with this stuff. With the other stuff, with decoupage paper, if you get wrinkles in it, it's really no big deal. But with wrapping paper, you're kind of going to want to be a little more particular. Okay, I'm going to cut this just so there's not a big end. Okay, so that's what we have. I guess I could fold this under. There's not much selvage and it's not really straight. So I think what I'm going to do is wait until it's dry and then use a blade and just kind of get rid of the excess there. So just keep that in mind, that it won't be completely finished. But we will finish it. Another thing you could do is intentionally make it longer, and then you could trim it, and you could line it if you want to. I wasn't going to go that crazy. This is the kind of thing that, you know, you might want to put cookies in for someone. But look how cute this is. Like I said, I'm going to seal it with the clear coat, but I think that one's really, really cute. I love the buffalo plaid, and this wicker I thought was just a nice neutral to go with it. Okay, so brought a couple more, and here's another one, and we're going to decoupage this whole box. I already coated it in driftwood manatee gray. Okay, so I gave it a coat, and it doesn't have to be a really clear coat. Because we're going to be just decoupaging over top of it anyway. So I've got a few different papers here, but I have the knob that I have for this one is kind of a pink, kind of I don't know, peachy pink. It almost looks amber on the screen, but it does have a pink tone. So I definitely want to use something with pink. Let's see. I had even considered doing some transfers on there too. We could always do that. Sure, why not? We're doing a lot of decoupage tonight. Let's do some transfers. This is a cherry blossom transfer from Dixie Belle. Glad the stick is in there. And this has all kinds of pretty designs in it. Isn't that pretty? I wish I knew what that said, but I don't. And I love these, the black and white ones. Oh my gosh, the flowers are so pretty. Just beautiful. So let's start with the black and white flowers. Let's put some of those at the bottom. So I dropped my stick. Okay. So just going to be random here and cut out. All right, so let's do this on the side. Let's get as much mileage as we can from it. So we'll do it long ways. Okay. There's this one little part. Well, you know what? We can always layer over that. There's just that little branch part. I'm going to cut it. There. Okay, so just going to lay this down on here. And it doesn't matter if some of it runs off. We'll try to get as much as we can on there. This cherry blossom transfer, this was from a different, I mean, it's a Dixie Belle, but it was from a different manufacturer. So these particular transfers were kind of hard to apply. So hopefully we won't have any trouble tonight, but I have struggled with them a little bit more. They just take a little bit more burnishing to stick on your project. I mean, I've been able to use them, but and it's transferring. I can see it's transferring. This is really porous. Sometimes you're working on something a little bit, you know, after like painted wood furniture is not quite as porous as this cardboard box. So it'll take a little bit more. But Dixie Belle's coming out with a whole bunch of new transfers, and I can't wait to see them. I've also heard that we're getting some new colors. So that's exciting. Not sure if we're allowed to tell, but you know what? They wouldn't have told us. They wouldn't have told a bunch of people if they wanted it a secret, right? They want us to get you excited, probably. So probably maybe 20, possibly, colors of silk. No, maybe not that many. But anyway, a lot of new silk colors. I can't wait to see them. Because I sell a lot of silk anymore. So I like using, I did use some silk on some of these projects, but I like using the chalk mineral paint sometimes for different things because I like the texture that it gives. And then sometimes I like using the silk just for a different feel. Okay. Just want to make sure that's all down. There, that looks pretty. I'm going to use another section of this. I think we should cover this whole bottom part with the black and white and add some of the cherry blossom in, and then make the rest of the cherry blossoms on the top. What do you think? So have you guys ever used transfers or decoupage? Okay, so far we have, this is our second gift idea. I have a couple more to show you tonight. This might have to be a two-part series because some of these are turning out pretty long, but it's okay. It's just fun to sit down for an evening and do some crafting, and especially for me when I get to visit with you guys. You know, every year the business evolves, and there's some exciting changes for us coming up in the new year too. Lots of things I'm super excited about. Some new projects I'm going to be working on personally, and looking forward to growing the YouTube channel some more. Okay, I'm liking the way this looks. I think it looks really cool. So, let's see. Let's take this big hunk here. I'm not even worrying about trimming any of that, because it'll just go off the bottom anyway. Hope you guys can see. I know I'm shaking the whole, shaking everything up. Now this one I think will make a nice little vanity box or something. It's nice to give a gift inside. So you're giving something that's handmade, and then maybe you can put some jewelry inside or something. Some powder or something. That would be a cool thing to put a powder puff in there. Does anybody use powder puffs anymore? I used to love that. My mother and my grandmother had powder with a powder puff in it. I guess until everybody started suing for using powder, so guess that's why we don't see that anymore, huh? But it was an elegant thing, I think. I loved to see that on the vanity. It was just so pretty. We're getting there. We're almost there. This wasn't hard to apply at all. Okay, so that's what that looks like. And there's this one spot that's bare. So we'll put this little piece on there. These are almost like tattoos. So I think that's pretty. I'm really glad that I chose the manatee gray color because it was kind of a last minute decision. Get this stuff out of here. And then let's pick some flowers. I'm going to pick some for the top. I think some of these bigger flowers. Actually, probably all of these will work. This is really a beautiful set of transfers. I might want to take some of these little flowers and put them on the bottom, but we'll see. We shall see. Okay. All right, let's see what we have here. Okay, we'll start with this big one. And I want to kind of take it down over the side a little bit. So we'll get this part on. You can see when it starts getting transparent, that's when it's transferring. Okay, now I'm just gonna take and snip this a little bit just to get it to conform down over the side. So we can get the rest of it applied. Sometimes it doesn't look like it's going on right, but usually it works out just fine. They are very forgiving. Let's see what we have here. So even if some of it like kind of sticks up, you can still take your finger, oops, not on the camera, and just kind of smooth it down. And if they get a little wrinkly, it's okay. Just smooth them out. I don't know whether my camera went down a little bit or not. And that spot in the middle is where the hole is for my handle. Okay, and let's just put this other one on this side. And we may end up using that other one as well. Okay, same thing. We're just gonna trim in here a little bit. I'm actually gonna trim right through the transfer. Maybe. These scissors, I swear, they're horrible. So I'm taking the middle one first, because then the other ones can kind of overlap it. Pull that up. Like I said, it's very forgiving. I just love the spontaneity of our Tuesday talks. I have things planned, and then sometimes they don't go as planned, and then sometimes we go in a different direction, like I wasn't really planning on doing transfers. I had thought about it, but decided not to, and then changed my mind again. So I always say it's a woman's prerogative, right, to change her mind. Okay. So again, and I like it when they overlap. Okay, I think that's kind of enough for that. So let's put the lid on this one, or the handle, and then we'll have another one done. So I had previously cut the holes in these. These are just old knobs that I had that were like only one left, you know, of each one. So this is a great way to use them up. You can also use these on jar lids too. You can drill a hole in a jar lid. Should do that some night too. And again, I can use those channel locks and cut that down. I can also use the sealer on this as well and seal that, and I will. But I'm not going to take the time to do that tonight. But I really think this turned out pretty. You can also use wax on it if you want, and distress it. All right, we got to get moving. So I had one more box to do, and I was going to use all decoupage. So let's take a quick look at this one. So I want to show you something on this that I think's kind of cool. So we are going to use Dixie Belle's Colorful Tile stencil on this, specifically because that's the knob that we're using on that one, because it was kind of small. So this is a really cool design as well. So I think on this one, let's take, I don't know. Okay, let's pick this one because it's really colorful. Hence the name, Colorful Tiles. So all we're using is a square. Get rid of this, although we probably don't even have to take the time to cut this off. Let's get some of this stuff out of the way. I'm a messy crafter. I don't know about you guys, but I'm always a mess. But that's the fun. Some people can't work like that. I can't be neat and tidy when I'm crafting. Okay, so I want to use the center right over this. So this is going to involve a little trimming too, but I'm going to use this clear coat again, the flat clear coat. And which brush did I use for that? Let me find my brush. So you know what? I'm going to use another one. And I'm just coating the top at the moment. And I want to center, because that's where my center is going to go. I guess you can't see from my jar. Let me put that down a little bit. Okay. So we have this on the top. I'm going to kind of make some lines so I can see where that is. And then we're just going to come along here and trim. And obviously I'm going to have to trim those corners. Okay, now we're going to come along and get all those edges. Okay, and I think we'll start on these sides. Get the little short pieces down first. And then work around them. So getting the ones beside the short pieces in the middle. And then the last thing we'll do is the corners. Okay. So now we're putting those corners down. That could have used a little more trimming, and we can come in again and flatten that. Kind of tearing the paper there a little bit, which was my bad. But we will just kind of fix it with some decoupage medium. Did you hear that? My dog's having a dream. Aw, I often wonder what they're dreaming of. Guess it sounds like a happy dream. Okay, I'm going to trim these corners. Do you guys hear him? Yeah, he's sleeping in there, so he's dreaming. Okay, so now I'm going to come along and just kind of flatten this all down. Kind of missed this corner, but since it's wet, I'm just going to kind of pull on it. I hope it's a happy dream. He was a rescue pup, so part of his life wasn't good. Now he's super spoiled. Okay, and I'm just going to go across the top there too. This just makes it look so nice. And while that paper's still wet, I'm going to go ahead and punch this through the center. Oh, you know what? I'm not going to include that thing because I think it's going to hide too much of the design. We don't really need it. So for the bottom part, since it's so small, I think the best thing to do is going to be to paint that. I'll probably just paint it in a white. And after this dries, we can come along. See, I missed that. I can tear it easily when it's wet. But after it dries, I'll come along and just use a nail file, and I'll be able to clean up that edge real nicely. But we have to let it dry first. But I think that's really cute. So like I said, probably paint the bottom white. What do you think on that one? Okay, let's set that aside and let's come back to our journal real quick because we're really running low on time. So, doesn't matter at this point what the front or the back is. But I'm just going to set this down here. Put that down there. Okay. I think I'm going to use E6000 just because it's going to be a little quicker of a hold. Although I should put this away. I did have another decoupage project, and I also had a stamping one, so we'll see if we get to all of that. Also had some jewelry to show you. That's what I'm saying. We might have to make this a second parter because we're already 55 minutes. But I'm going to use a little E6000 and glue. Our frame on, and also our Cameo. That one's really pretty, but I think this is the one I was going to use. Yeah, let's get this. So I'm going to have to let this dry. And when it dries, then I'm going to come back in with another coat of paint because the back of it clearly needs another coat of paint, as does the front. But that also covers up like any glue marks or anything. And then the fun part is coming back in with some glaze. Because of the colors of this paper, I was going to use some Van Dyke Brown glaze, and then also come back in with some gold gilding wax. I'm going to use a little paper towel here and just get a little bit of this glue out of here, glue residue, so it doesn't dry hard. You don't have to get all of it. You don't have to be perfect with it, but just if you have a big lump, you want to get it. Because like I said, we're going to come back and paint it, and we're going to paint over all of it. So that lines up really nicely. So before I put the tape on it, I just want to show you, because I'm going to put a little painter's tape on it to hold it. And then I also usually take a little bit of ribbon and I was looking for this other book that I had because I wasn't able to find that ribbon. But I glue just a little bit of the ribbon in here and then bring it down. And that makes such a nice, it just makes it so high end. Also had another kind of, let me grab this, hang on. Now, I probably would use the black ribbon that I typically use, especially for this coloration, but this is cool too. This is like a ribbon that's like leaves. So if I do some other ones in some other colors or have some florals, this would be perfect. But you just glue it up in here, and then when it's glued, it's your page marker. So, like I said, it's just a detail that makes it so high end. But I'll be using probably a black ribbon with that one. This glue is sticking on pretty well. I'd love to be able to finish some of that, but let's just let it dry a little bit. Oops. This is just a little precaution to make sure it doesn't move around on us. All right, so let's let that dry a little bit. Okay, let me show you this real quick. So these are little coasters, I guess. They're just wooden squares that I got from Wish. So they're unfinished. And I used silk in white cap, which is the whitest white, and painted them. So what my plans are with them, gee, I had another box here that we were going to decoupage. I had big plans for tonight, so we just aren't getting it all done. I just lost my other gift box, so it's okay. But what I thought, I do want to show you this little. So this would make a great family gift. If you make a coaster for everybody in the family. As soon as I get any letters that belong to any of the people that I want to make these for, then I, boy, maybe, gee. So far, Aaron is the winner. E. Yep, we have enough to spell out Aaron. Okay, so these little stamps I got from Michael's. And I'm just going to get, you could do different colors, but I'm just going to use like a basic, this one is called Ground Espresso. So let's use that. And so we're spelling out Aaron. And I have found with these little things that the best way to do it is to just line it up and hold it all together if you can. Now, this particular one, the stamper isn't that big. So, can you see what I'm doing here? So, I'm just doing that. Gonna put them back together, kind of put it in the corner. Okay, that was a lot lighter than I wanted it to be. But I was thinking that was a darker color. That does not look like espresso. I think maybe I put the wrong lid on. But anyway, either way, now what I would do would be touch up that little bit of paint that I got down at the bottom, or a little bit of ink. But I'm going to spell out the names of the rest of the people in the family. And then you could add something else to it if you wanted, but I was just going to kind of keep it simple like this. But what my plans are is to put 2-part epoxy, not the stuff, not this stuff that we used, but the clear. That takes 24 to 48 hours to dry, and just, put it over the top. You could put a transfer on here if you wanted. That's not a bad idea. But I think that would make a great family gift. So, just trying to throw these ideas out at you. Okay, let's do this and then we will call it a night. So these little guys, I am going to use Moonshine Metallics. I already put a coat of the Manatee Gray on, okay? But now I'm going to use some of the Moonshine Metallics. I forgot to soak that. I had some other brushes here or there. Little brushes. Okay. Little details. So, I'm also going to use Sapphire Pearl, which is a glaze. It's a pretty blue glaze. So what I'm going to do is just take this little detail brush and just go over the figure on the Cameo. with the sapphire pearl. Actually, I think I'm going to do the whole inside of this frame with that. You could get as detailed with these if you wanted. It would look really pretty to do the back of that in the white and then do this. You'll have to tell me in the comments which one of these projects was your favorite tonight. We'll do a little recap before we go. You know what? We'll do that. You know, I'm going to save those and do a transfer on those. I think that would be cute to take one of those little flowers or something and do that. I know, I should do it now, right? I always challenge myself. Can I get this done in 5 minutes? Well, we're over an hour now, so I guess it's no big deal. Okay, so now I'm just taking a little of the metallic. Now what we can do with these is I have some post earring backs that I can glue on here, and there'll be a pair of earrings. Or I do have, these are cool too. Now these have like a hole in them that you would put a gem, but you could do that on there. So they would be hair clips. But let's take real quick, real super quick. And I'm going to grab one of these flowers, these little flowers. These are really tiny ones. Getting my stamps and everything out here. I'm a hot mess. Okay, almost done here, guys. Let's take these two little flowers. Well, that one's not so little, but let's see if this adheres. Seems to have stuck where I wanted it to. I'm gonna pull in a little bit of that. I had a little glue residue on my fingers. Okay, so I'm just laying this down on here, and then I can paint over this transfer. Let me do the other one and see if that one cooperates as well. A lot of little detail here, but and I would recommend, if you're going to try any of these ideas, that you try them one at a time instead of getting everything out like I did. Because we still have one that I didn't get to, but that's okay. Maybe we'll continue this next Tuesday. And I will have a video out on Thursday. I did some crafting with my grandkids, so you'll get to meet them. And then Friday is the Cozy Challenge hosted by Flippin' Drawers. You want to check out his channel, as well as all of the people that participate in this challenge. Okay, so I'm kind of using my fingernail on here too. Just want to get this flat. This will be sealed for sure. the whole thing. But after I get this burnished, I'm just going to take this Moonshine Metallics and just go around these edges. And I can always come back in like with a gilding wax also. Get the other guy here. And once again, I'll probably put earring backs on these, and they are a pair of pierced earrings. You can always drill in them if you want to make them with a wire, or if you want to hang a bead from the bottom. You can do anything you want, really, so it's very versatile. And again, I will seal this. You could do whatever colors you wanted to do. So let me put this up here. Well, I sure have a mess to clean up, but I hope you enjoyed this evening. I know I sure did. And like I said, comment and let me know which one of these things you like the best and whether you would do any of them, give any of them as gifts. So I hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving, and take care, and we'll see you later on in the week. Bye-bye.